Now, the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown measures have led to the worldwide closure of technical and vocational education and training institutions, threatening the continuity of skills development. This therefore makes this year's World Youth Skills Day to be marked in a challenging context with a unique focus on skills for resilient youth in the era of COVID-19 and beyond. It is estimated that nearly 70% of the world's learners are affected by school closures across educational levels currently. Relatively, a survey of technical and vocational education and training institutions shows that distance learning has become the most common way of imparting skills with considerable difficulties regardless. More so, reports have it that prior to current crisis, young people aged between 15 and 24 were 3 times more likely than adults to be unemployed. In post-COVID-19 societies, as young people are called upon to contribute to the recovery effort, experts opine that these young people will need to be equipped with skills to successfully manage evolving changes and the resilience to adapt future disruptions. And this is why the importance of developing skilled youth is at the core of this year's message for the World Youth Skills Day. And joining us now in the studio to elaborate on this day is Joy Osomiame Onumajuru, founding partner, African Scholars Care Initiative. Thank you, Joy, for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you, Muslima. Thank you. It's glad to be here.
Now, the World Youth Skills Day was instituted in 2014. How important is this amid the COVID-19 pandemic?
Thank you so much for the question. We would like to appreciate the UN General Assembly for designing this laudable project for World Youth Skills Day that we have to do on a yearly basis here. This is to bring inclusion, awareness. As an advocate for youth, I would like to give an awareness to the people and the society at large. Yeah, we want to thank the government for everything they've been doing for the youths in terms of skill acquisition and all of that. But it's an opportunity to say that the government cannot do it alone. It's something we have to have an inclusion of other organizations, the private sector, the NGOs, the local government. Yeah, you guys should do something. Programs, drop different programs and see how we can keep our youth engaged and keep them off the street in terms of security so that we don't get them to have laxity on their part and start thinking that the only option is armed robbery, 419 and or whatnot.
So tell us, how has Nigeria fared in advocacy to sensitize Nigerians on human capital development? That's through adequate engagement to enable local content.
Okay, in terms of that, like I said, they've been trying, and I think we can do more. We can do better. We should, because if you look at in 2016, we had 259 million persons that were not engaged in any form of employment, education, or training. This is in line with youths. And the curve is moving higher every day because in 2021, we are looking at 273 million Nigerians, youths worldwide not to be engaged. Now, what can we do? Locally, we should try and create programs for them, like the African Scholars Care Initiative is coming up with a virtual program. Because of the lockdown, we really cannot do much because of clustering, and in line with the NCDC rules, we can have that program in life. So we are coming up with a virtual program for August 12 World Youth Day, where we would have to empower more youths. I, for one, I would take myself as an example. I was a youth that had finished university in 2012. After 2012, there was no job. What did I do? I sat back. My parents are educationists. My mom is a lecturer. My daddy owns a private school. I said, this is something I can do. I haven't been in the industry watching my parents master an apprenticeship system of growing up. I started and started doing private lessons. And before you know, in 2017, which is, let's say, 5 years after graduation, I set up my own private school. I am less than 30, under 30. I have a private school with over about 50 pupils. I have a staff strength of over 18 persons that have been on my payroll in the past 3 years. That is my private establishment. If I can do that, every Nigerian can come up with something to gainfully engage themselves in legal and proper styles.
All right then, you have talked about mentoring, you have talked about youths taking the bull by the horn and going ahead and making sure that they do something positive. Now, let's have a closer look at the theme for this year's World Youth Skills Day, which focuses on skills for a resilient youth in the era of COVID-19, which is very, very vital. What roles do you think technical and vocational education and training and mentoring should play to fully achieve that agenda as captured by the SDGs?
Okay, the Agenda 2030 as captured by the SDGs, it has actually been fully affected. The technical and vocational education training has been fully affected because it is not as effective. The impact of whatever they do is not as effective on the youth because we need this one-on-one relationship to have impact in education. When you're training people, they need to see you, they need to feel you, they need their different types of body languages. It's not just your spoken English, they also need to feel your body language. That is how best they can learn. Now, with all of this, I would say that the government will appeal to you to create a more enabling environment for virtual learning. If it's, I don't know how we can do this, but now that we are being affected by COVID-19, we need to learn to live with it. We're living with COVID-19. We need to try to engage the youth, the learners, vocational skills is being affected. It's over 70%. I would say more than about 90% for my own analysis in Nigeria. Not even 70%.
Thank you for sharing your insights with us on News at 10.
Thank you so much, Muslima and Comfort. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You're always welcome.
Yeah, we'll go on a short break now and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away. Stay with us.